All right, let's move on to more afternoon action. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Houston Texans 4-11, 2-5 on the road at San Francisco 49ers. Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. San Francisco opening up as 15.5-point favorites. That moved quickly down to 12.5. This total opened up at 45. It's now down to 44. We go over to the live odds. We have 3,200. There's live market moves, I should say. 3,265 tickets in. 15% of the tickets are on the Niners and 94% of the cash. So people believing, I guess they're believing that Jimmy G is still going to be a quarterback. I don't know. We'll hear what Bebnek thinks about that. Then we have 43% of tickets on the under and 53% of cash on the under. Texans coming off their most impressive win of the year, 41-29 at home over the Chargers. Davis Mills, 21-27 for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Chris Conley caught 3 passes for 60 yards and a touchdown. Brevin Jordan made an appearance. Speaking of an important, 4 catches, 56 yards. But speaking of a monster performance and out of nowhere, Rex Burkhead, 22 carries, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They picked Herbert off twice. Tavier Thomas returned 148 yards to the house. 16 players missed the game on the COVID list. Brandon Cooks. These are the main ones. You had top receiver Brandon Cooks, center Justin Britt. You had defensive end Jonathan Greenard, but he's been out for a few weeks. And then Fairbairn, their kicker. But they won consecutive games for the first time this season. Texans beat Jacksonville last week, and David Culley is getting a lot out of his players. You have to think that there's 2 teams who are really bad that are still fighting really hard, and that's the Texans and the Jets are still fighting hard. Let's just quickly go over this Houston team because they added David Johnson to the COVID list today. Quisenberry and Hewitt are out. I thought I had Quisenberry and Hewitt notes here, but I don't. I thought I did. So Hewitt is is on the COVID list, and I believe Quisenberry is as well. It doesn't say that here. Philip Dorsett, the barely used receiver, is not going to play the final 2 games of the year. Amendola, wide receiver, and Terrence Mitchell, quarterback, were inactive last week, and Ellis is questionable this week. So here's the guys. I told you about Cooks. They have Titus Howard on the COVID list, Justin Britt, Jordan Jenkins, defensive end, Roy Lopez, defensive tackle, Lonnie Johnson, cornerback, safety, Eric Murray, linebacker, Tay Davis, linebacker, Eric Wilson, defensive tackle, Jaleel Johnson, defensive end, Derek Rivers, defensive tackle, Malik Collins, and Jonathan Greenard, as well as guard Lane Taylor, all on the COVID list. So is A.J. Moore, safety. What an absolute mess. Let's talk about the Niners. They come in off extra rest and prep after their disappointing 2017 loss to the Titans on Thursday night. Just their second loss in their last 7 games. They were up 10-0 at the half, and that they completely dominated that. I knew I was in big trouble when it was only 10-0 at the half because it should have been 21-0 or more. This was the Niners' first loss after leading by 10 or more at halftime under Kyle Shanahan in the whole Shanahan era. They'd been 18-0 in the regular season and playoffs with those leads previously. They hadn't lost a lead as a team like that since week 14 of 2016 under Chip Kelly. Jimmy G did not play well, injured his hand in the second quarter to add to his problems, sustained a UCL tear and a fracture in his right thumb, but he stayed in the game. He's listed as questionable. 26-35 for 322 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Deebo Samuel caught 9 passes for 159 yards, ran 5 times for 32 yards. He's spectacular. Kyle Juszczyk caught 3 passes for 45 yards, was wide open for an easy score in the second quarter, but was a terrible pass thrown to him, caused an incompletion. Usage is such a hell of a football player as well. Jeff Wilson Jr. ran 14 times for 45 yards. Niners defense looked good. 4 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. They shut the Titans out in the first half, but they couldn't get key stops on third down, and 9 for 16 in those situations is atrocious. Azeez Al-Shaair is so good. He just looks better week in and week out. He hurt his knee. He didn't return, and now he's out for the rest of the regular season. He's not going to play week 17 or 18. The Niners are dealing with tons of injuries, but they don't have much of a COVID list to worry about. I'll see if anything was added in the last 3 or 4 hours when Bebsie's going off, but the only one that was on there is Mitch Wishnowsky, their punter. Emmanuel Mosley will miss week 17, their cornerback, with an ankle injury. Safety Tavarius Moore is not coming back this season. Running back Trey Sermon still on IR with an ankle injury. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw will not play in week 17. Elijah Mitchell, defensive tackle Maurice Hurst, and safety Talanoa Hufanga were all inactive last week, and Ellis is questionable this week. Chris Brady says, I like the over. San Francisco will put up points. Whack Prescott says Jimmy G's worth 3 points to the other team. You know, Bebsie, to lead you into this game, my dad bet the Titans before the game started, and he kept saying that he has a secret weapon. I got a secret weapon in this game, and his secret weapon was Jimmy Garoppolo, and he enjoyed it immensely as Garoppolo shit the bed. Take it away here, Bebsie. Big game for the Niners, Texans, San Francisco.
I have to lean Niners here. They're in a must-win situation. They were given a gift with Miami dominating on Monday Night Football and beating the Saints. But yeah, they have to win, and I think, look, there's almost too much stock being put into Jimmy Garoppolo here. I'd rather hear that he's out. Because I do believe that Trey Lance gives them a better opportunity because, well, for one, his finger or thumb doesn't have a torn ligament and a missing piece of the bone right now. And look, Jimmy Garoppolo has put together some good games in the second half of this season, but you knew that game was due. He loves to play terrible sometimes, and he did exactly that. And he cost them that game. I'm still waiting to move to find out who's playing quarterback, because if Garoppolo's in, I don't have faith in it. But if Trey Lance comes in, then I have faith in them. But I think in this must-win scenario, San Francisco is going to take it to this Texans team that's, coming off a win. They beat up on the Chargers. I don't think they're doing that 2 weeks in a row, and I certainly don't think the Niners are going to have a meltdown on the season here. I just think there's too much character on that team to fold right now. So it's a Niners look for me, waiting to hear what's going to happen at the quarterback spot, but hoping as a fan that it's Trey Lance coming in. And might be able to get a better line if Trey Lance comes in.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. What were your feelings on watching Davis Mills play? Because my dad was extremely impressed.
Look, Davis Mills, and I mentioned this earlier in the season, he was the number one recruited quarterback out of high school. He was just constantly injured in college. He tore both his ACLs. So the physical traits are there. He's a big guy. He's got a big arm. And I think the Texans could potentially have a real steal there with Davis Mills. He does impress me. And I honestly, I have a soft spot for guys who have major knee injuries in college and can turn it around. Obviously, my boy Frank Gore being a big case for that. So I really do hope the best for him. And I have been impressed by him so far. And I think he could potentially still blossom into a solid starting quarterback. I don't think he's ever going to be a star, but he certainly has the physical makeup to be one.
Damon's saying this line is insanely weird. Is it because Texans' rush defense is so bad? Are the 49ers capable of running the ball down anybody's throat right now with the injuries they have at the running back position and needing Deebo Samuel back there?
Well, Jeff Wilson's there, and I think Elijah Mitchell will be ready to go this week. So they're going to have two of their three better running backs playing. Obviously, losing Mostert for the year after week one sucked because he's that home run guy. But we've seen them get it done with Mitchell. We know that they can get it done with Wilson. Hasty's also a solid piece. I'd really like to see Sermon get back. I think he's going to be a big contributor going forward with them. Obviously, didn't get it done this year, but I think with Mitchell and Wilson, they're in more than capable hands.
So no move for me. I do not want the 49ers at this price. Steve G saying the Texans plus 12.5 is enticing. I think it's dangerous if we believe what we saw last week, just because of the injuries and COVID issues to the Chargers defense. But I get it. That's why I'm not on Niners. Anything you want to make official here? And can you just touch quickly on this total that's sitting at 44? It's dropped a point.
I think the over is an enticing look here because look, the Texans put up points against a vulnerable football team last week, and we know the Niners secondary is very, very vulnerable with who they have playing corner for them right now. And the Niners, look, they're capable of manufacturing points. Honestly, my biggest concern is if Jimmy Garoppolo plays, do not bet the Niners. Because when he plays and he's not 100%, he's terrible. He's played with, now mind you, I've seen him play with high ankle sprains where he can't plant and then he throws ducks, usually to the other team. I don't think it's going to be any better with a torn ligament and a broken bone in your hand and your throwing hand. So I would wait. If Jimmy Garoppolo is playing, fade the Niners. If Trey Lance is playing, you might actually see this line move down, and then I would bet the Niners. That is my honest opinion, despite what Birdie might suggest. There is no reverse jinx. There is just honesty here.
Just honesty here. Let's move on. As you know, we're never going to sell you anything. So you're right. I like that, Bebsie. Let's roll and keep rolling. A note here from Trammell saying closing line value on the Rams. Lamar going to come out shaky at best. Not like he was playing his best ball in the last few games for injury. I don't think Lamar going to come out and light it up. Interesting. I like the Ravens plus 3.5. It looks like that's going to be the only side that I move on early at this point.